Hey, this is the Mega Geek back again. Today we're actually going to be reviewing an anime series called Death Note. You might have heard about this series. It was very big a couple of years ago. Basically, it aired on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim, but it only made it through one run. They didn't really rerun it. Then it was taken off. It's a pretty neat series. Basically what's going on is you take two genius-level people who have differing ideals of justice, and then you have those ideals of justice clash. One of them ends up getting a hold of a supernatural object that doesn't belong in our world, that actually belongs to what we would refer to in this country as a Grim Reaper. In Japan it's called a Shinigami, or a god of death. Essentially, a Death Note is a notebook of death. And if you know a person's name and their face, as long as you're thinking of that name and the face as you write the name down in the notebook, that person will die. And you can specify how they will die, or just let them die from a heart attack. I'm giving away a key point, but you gotta know. And they eventually dub the one with the notebook as Kira, because he starts taking out criminals left and right, because he feels it is just to wipe them out to make a better world for everyone else. The other genius is dead set on stopping him. The one called Kira is actually described in the series as a genius that has been sheltered and groomed from an early age to be successful. And the one trying to stop him, known as L, is described as a mad genius. Who will win? That's essentially what's going on. It's a big mind game between these two. And there's actually been some controversy about this series. Essentially, in the US, a couple of kids had a replica notebook. They probably bought this off eBay. You can probably get it from a lot of different places. You can probably even buy it off Amazon.com. And what they had done, one of them had written his teacher's name in the book. And some people he didn't like. Another one wrote the people that were bullying him, and a lot of people he didn't like, names down. Now, to them it was just a joke, but to the people that knew what this was, it wasn't, and they got into some serious trouble for it. I believe they actually got suspended for a few days. And there's even been a copycat killing attributed to someone calling themselves Kira in Europe. Essentially, someone was found murdered with a note attached to them that says, "I am Kira." Kind of spooky, but you know, this series did have a pretty big impact because it is a really cool series. And what I'm going to be reviewing for you today is the box sets that were released by Viz Media and distributed by Wraner Brothers. Each set contains 5 discs, and for those of you who collected the discs individually, you might be wondering what the 5th disc is in the second set, because in the release of the individual discs there are only 9 discs. But I'll let you get a close-up view of that and let you know what it is. Here's the first box to Death Note. As you can tell, it's basically got the description on the back. And what they've done here is it's a slip cover. You can take this piece off and set it aside. And then we've got the actual box set. Well, when we open it up, you'll see on this inside that the rules are written like you'd see it in the first couple pages of the Death Note. Makes this a pretty neat little set. The second box has the same setup. Essentially, I don't know if you can tell, but there are pictures that are kind of darkened in the background. I'm going to fully open the set and then we'll kind of look at it. Here's the first set. You know, you've got your disc set up in basic box set format. Little insert letting us know what's on the disc. Behind it is an advertisement that Viz put in there. When you open it up, you'll be able to see the 5th disc. Again, I mentioned earlier that there are 10 discs in the box set, and I kind of explained what happened. We'll take a look at the second set. There you can see the pictures. Here's set number 2. It's got basically the same slip cover. We'll pull it off and lay that down, set it aside for right now. Open it up, and as you can see, this one also has more rules from the Death Note. Basically, this is the completion of the rules. And it's set up the same way, only it's got discs, 6 through 10. But I'm sure a lot of you are curious about that 10th disc. Essentially, here's a close-up of what's on the 10th disc. I don't know if you can read it, but essentially what's here is backstage with the original voice actors, an interview with the animation director, and some other stuff like that. And here's the picture that's on the bonus disc. I figured you'd like to see this as well. If you've seen the series, that would be Teru Mikami. And behind him is Light Yagami. Also. But if you haven't, that'll just help you out. Just knowing character names really won't give much away. And essentially, I'm not going to go into who created the series, the manga release. There have been 3 live-action movies, but of the live-action movies, only 2 of them actually have something to do with Death Note. The 3rd movie, they decided to give L an adventure off on his own, and I'll be reviewing those separately. I may or may not get the 3rd movie because I've heard really, really mixed reviews on whether it was good or not. I happen to have the first one already. I'm going to get the second one to kind of complete that series. And I'll be doing that review as soon as I have the second one, because the first 2 movies are related and the 3rd one's really not. But if you want more information over Death Note or any other anime series, I suggest a website called Anime News Network. I'll be including a link in the description. I'll also be putting a link in the description to where you can buy these. It'll be for Amazon.com. It's one of my favorite sites. My set is actually used, and as you can tell, it's in beautiful condition. I bought my set from Half Price Books, which I'll also be including a link to their website, so you can find out if there's a location near you. Essentially, they sell used books, used DVDs, used CDs, used cassette tapes. I've even seen Laserdiscs and the predecessor of Laserdiscs in some of them. They even sometimes have used video game consoles, and they also have used games and used board games. And that would be the end of Death Note. Hope you liked this review. If you do, please subscribe, and check out my other channel, Blind Man's Grub.